And now, since this is the Public Policy Special Day, I'm turning over the microphone to Sue Ryden and Betty Boyd on our legislative updates.
Thank you, Joan. And let me say how excited I am to have Candace Smith joining our leadership team as Public Policy Co-Director. And I know we're both grateful for the other members of the committee, including Gail Wilson, Diane Fuchs, Darcy Juday, Stacy Spalding, Sally Mathewson, Stormy McDonald, Debbie Parchetta, Marcy Young, the Honorable Betty Boyd, the Honorable Nancy Todd, and the Honorable Suzanne Williams, along with our branch public policy chairs, Betty Flayton, Kate Meyer Olson, Sandra Munger, and Barbara O'Connor. And special thanks go to our tech team of Carolyn Cooley and Susan Brody for facilitating our meeting today. If we happen to have anyone joining us who is in elected office, please put your name in chat or in the Q&A, and we will certainly want to welcome and introduce you. But most of all, thank you for attending today. We hope you will leave with new ideas, new energy, and new inspiration to continue the important work of AAUW. And as your public policy co-director, I'm honored to serve you in our advocacy for AAUW and our priorities. My interest in public policy goes way back, but my active involvement didn't begin until 2008 when I was recruited to run for office. I'd been in business my whole entire adult career, over 30 years, and I was hardly prepared for life under the Gold Dome. Long story short, with the support of friends, family, and community, I ran and I won. And I served in the Colorado legislature for 8 years. During my tenure, my caucus elected me to various leadership positions, ending with my job as the majority whip. But the most rewarding job was passing bills that helped people lead better, healthier lives, especially our women veterans. So my message to you is, if I could do it, so can you. So we have an exciting agenda today, and it starts with our legislative update. And if Carolyn is ready, we can have the slideshow begin. So today we are going to review 2022. We're going to preview 2023. We're going to refresh you on working with the legislature, and we are going to renew our call to action. So as slide, please. Slide, please. So no, go back, please. Sorry. Yes. As you all know, we had an important election in 2022. Instead of the projected red wave, there was a blue tsunami in Colorado. Voters reelected all 4 statewide officers, Governor Jared Polis, Secretary of State Jenna Griswold, State Treasurer Dave Young, and Attorney General Phil Weiser. Democrats gained seats in both the State House and Senate, giving them a historic majority. U.S. Senator Michael Bennet was reelected, as were all sitting Congress members, including Diana DeGette, Jason Crow, Joe Neguse, Ken Buck, Doug Lamborn, and Lauren Boebert. New members of Congress are Democrat Brittany Pedersen in Congressional District 7, formerly held by Ed Perlmutter, who retired, and Democrat Yadira Caraveo, who won in the new Congressional District 8. Slide, please. There were some important ballot measures too, and AAUW supported Amendment EE, the homestead exemption for Gold Star spouses, Prop FF, the free school meals, and Prop 123, the affordable housing. All 3 passed. AAUW opposed Prop 121, the reduced income tax, and Prop 125, wine and grocery stores, and unfortunately, both of those measures passed. The teacher pay issue that AAUW supported did not make the ballot, but is being brought back for legislative action this session. Slide, please. In our work at the state level, we follow the AAUW national priorities, supporting public education, economic empowerment, and the rights of all people. And for our recap of 2022, excuse me, and review of 2023 AAUW priority bills, I am happily joined again this year by the Honorable Betty Boyd. Betty served 6 years in the State House before filling a vacancy in the State Senate. She served the full 8 years there, ending as Senate President pro tem. Her passion has long been health and human services, and she was responsible for passing numerous bills that have helped make Colorado a healthier place to live, especially for women. Betty was our lobby director for a number of years, guiding our members and advocating for AAUW priorities in the Colorado General Assembly. And now she represents us with various women's groups. So take it away, Betty.
Thank you, Sue. Looks like I'm not on the screen, but that's okay. I am turned on. Just a review of the 2022 priority bills for our organization. We strongly supported or actively supported 10 bills. Of those, 9 passed and were signed by the governor. 1 was incorporated into the School Finance Act. We also supported 68 more bills, of which 60 passed and were signed by the governor. 5 were PI'd, which is an expression for killed. 3 died on the calendar, and 1 substitute bill passed and appeared on the November 2022 ballot. That was the issue of school lunches. Also, in terms of opposition, we had strong opposition to 15 bills, 14 of which were killed, PI'd. Only 1 was passed and signed by the governor, and that was a bill, an alternative governance for innovation school zones. And we opposed 2 other bills, which also died. For looking ahead now to the 2023 session, we have 3 priorities for Colorado AAUW. 1 is economic empowerment. The second is education equity. And 3rd is health and safety, which includes reproductive health issues as well. Looking first at the economic empowerment bills that we're actively supporting. House Bill 1016, you notice I'm leaving out the 23, in the habit of just naming the bill by number. House Bill 1016 is a temporary tax credit for public service retirees who are 55 years older. And this is an adjustment for inflation. House Bill 1084 is a continuation of military retirement benefit deduction for military people, and it would extend that deduction out to 2034. House Bill 1112 is a bill to continue and in both cases increase the earned income tax and the child tax credits that exist in Colorado. And in both cases, these are a percentage of the federal deduction. Also in the area of economic empowerment, Senate Bill 17 is one of a couple of bills that make some amendments to the paid family and medical leave program, which was approved by the voters a couple of years ago. Senate Bill 17 adds uses of that public leave benefit to include weather-related issues, for instance, that cause school closures for your children, so that you need to be at home and miss work. Also, work closures at your place of work. And this bill has already passed the Business and Labor Committee, is waiting to be heard on the floor. Another bill that is listed on a different page later on is Senate Bill 46. It's listed under health, but this is a bill that clarifies that all previous employment is to be considered and averaged in one's work history, rather than just the benefit depending on the job that you are currently in. It's much more fair. And this bill also has passed the Business and Labor Committee. Senate Bill 56 provides compensatory direct distribution to para. If you recall, para funds were raided by the legislature, and the funds were paid back, but the interest was not. And this bill would repay the interest that would have accrued to those dollars. Senate Bill 58 is the Job Application Fairness Act. And this bill would disallow the use of date of birth, age, your date of completion of any kind of an education, your degree year, from a job application. Later on, those questions could be asked, but not on the original application. Senate Bill 82 is Colorado Fostering Success Voucher Program, and it's assistance for former foster kids who were in the foster care system, who are 18 and older. And it assists them with housing and case management. Senate Bill 105 ensures equal pay for equal work. And it makes some changes in the job of the director. There are several places where they are authorized to make changes to do particular things. And this bill, instead of authorizing, would make that a requirement that they do those things. And the next slide, for active support, House Bill 1064 is about an interstate teacher mobility compact, which several other states have already approved, and we would join those states in making it easier for teachers to come to Colorado and work, particularly helpful for military families. And yet to be introduced are teacher requirement, pay, and teacher retention bills. We'll be looking for those. On the education equity side, we are actively opposing two bills right now. House Bill 1079 is income tax credits for non-public education. We have opposed this before. It's a voucher, essentially a voucher system. And the House Bill 1098, women's rights in athletics, is an anti-transgender bill that states that one would need to play in athletics according to the gender that's on their birth certificate. So it's an anti-transgender bill. Health and safety. House Bill 1088 is the Veterans Mental Health Session Reimbursement. And this is a reimbursement, state reimbursement for those people whose mental health federal benefits have have run out, and this would allow the state to replace those as they're needed. House Bill 1107, Crime Victim Services Funding, is funding to judicial districts, state, for domestic violence and sexual assault cases. House Bill 1108, a victim survivor training, is for judicial personnel. This would create a task force on training for judicial personnel to be prepared to deal with many issues that affect women. Senate Bill 31 improves healthcare access for older Coloradans. This allows and creates a new training program for and also includes guaranteed access to trained geriatric specialists for those who would qualify. Senate Bill 54, Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives Office. It adds specific duties to that office, which was created, I believe, last year in the legislature. Okay, here's under active support, here's Senate Bill 46 that I talked about earlier. And we're looking forward to several bills being introduced. If any of you read yesterday's post, there was a really good article on abortion bills that included both the bills that we would actively oppose and several bills that have been introduced, or they're the ones on both sides of the issue. The reproductive health protections have not been introduced yet, nor has red flag law enhancements or the prohibition on the sale of assault weapons. We'll be looking for those and likely to support them. Of the bills, the bills that are reproductive health issues that have not been introduced yet, one bill would consider privacy protections because there are providers in Colorado who have provided services for people in other states who have gone on to talk about it, and apparently the provider in Colorado has been sued. Another bill would require insurance, private insurance to cover abortion, and also add required family planning services to Medicaid. And another bill to regulate the crisis pregnancy centers, which are mainly designed to discourage people from having an abortion. The bills that we are actively opposing right now, the one has been introduced. That's the painkiller administration prior to abortion. This bill we've seen before and have opposed before, and we are opposing it again. There's also a bill, House Bill 1119, that would outright abolish abortion in Colorado, which we are opposed to as well. So I believe that is the end of my report, and this is a constantly changing picture. We will post on the Colorado website the current bill list, and look forward to updating it as we change and add positions. So I encourage you to look there. Thank you.
And thank you, Betty, for once again explaining a whole lot of complex issues in very concise terms. And now, folks, let's get to work. We want to bring our voices to the legislature. So here's a little bit of a tips and tricks that we want to show you today. So you can go to the Colorado General Assembly website, and it is at leg.colorado.gov, or you can just Google Colorado Legislature and you will get there. And on the homepage, you're going to see a number of icons to click on. So next slide. You can find your legislator just by entering your address. Slide, please. You can find a bill by number, title, sponsor, or keyword. Slide. Oh, I think I got those confused. You can watch or listen, which was the previous one. You can watch or listen to Senate and House floor proceedings, and you can listen to committee hearings. And you can find a bill by number, title, sponsor, or keyword. So Betty, would you explain some of the tools that folks should get familiar with?
Yes, happy to do that. Among the choices that you can make from the day, first of all, the daily calendar lists all of the bills. There's a calendar for both House and Senate that are separate. They list the bills that are up that day for second and third reading. Second reading is the first time the whole legislature gets a chance to comment or amend a bill. And then on third reading is the final reading, which is a recorded vote. You can find out what bills are being heard in committee, and these are all open for public testimony. And floor debate is open to legislators only. One can watch from the gallery or one can watch from the computer. Another feature is the daily journal. And there's both a House and a Senate journal. These are the official minutes of the proceedings. And this is where you can find out how legislators voted on particular bills on third reading. And it also includes committee votes. And the status sheet, this status sheet I find is the most helpful because it lists all the bills introduced and their current status in the legislature. And from the leftmost column on the status sheet, you can click on the bill number and it takes you to the bill number and you can read the entire bill. Okay, next page. Do you want to do this, Sue, or do you want me to?
Sure. So the website also has a wealth of resources. It has all the budget information, all the committee information, who's on which committee. It has the links to the Colorado Revised Statutes, our laws. It has the state agency links. It has all of the audits that the Office of the State Auditor has done. And it has tons of publications. So it's really worth your while to go in and kind of just look around and see what's there, because it's really pretty amazing and it's pretty intuitive too. I find it to be pretty easy to move around this website. So I encourage you not to be intimidated, but to go online and just spend some time looking around. And so now is our time for our call to action.
Okay.
It's really pretty simple. It's basically engaging with your legislators. And Betty, tell us how we can do that.
Okay, first of all, thanks, Sue. You can make an initial contact to introduce yourself and mention AAUW so that they will make the connection. You can offer to testify on bills in your area of expertise. You can know when bills are introduced or in committee. Call them, email them, or visit them to support or oppose a bill. Visit their campaign websites. And if you're so inclined, even assist on campaigns. Attend town halls. These are very important because you have the opportunity to speak directly to your legislator and find out what's going on. You can volunteer in a capital office or campaign. And particularly with respond to AAUW federal and state action alerts. These are very current and come to you at the probably the optimal time to contact your legislator. I always say, make your contact with them, especially when the off season, when they're not in session. And they have a little bit more time to meet with you face to face or have a cup of coffee and get to know you. So remember, the legislators represent you, you elect them, and get to know them, engage with them.
Thank you, Betty. And I know that we do have a couple minutes, I think, for Q&A. Candace, have we received any questions?
Good morning. We have not received any questions, so looks like everything has been well explained and straightforward.
So some things that I would like to maybe add, if we have a minute or so, is something that I've often been asked is, what are the qualifications to run for state office in Colorado? Well, basically, you have to be over 25 years old. So we would like to have people that have some qualifications, but you don't have to really have anything except yourself and your passion and your willingness to run and work and do those things. And one thing that we should mention is that this year we almost reached a majority of women in our state legislature. We do have a 50 now, which is half, which puts us in the top 3 states in the country. So things have just changed dramatically, even since I was elected in 2008. I mean, the number of women that are in office and younger women with families, which just sort of makes me wonder how in the heck they do it. But they're doing it and they're doing great. And there's just really no age limit to it. When I got elected, I was already in my 60s and I was feeling kind of old. And I got down to the Capitol and there were a whole bunch of old fogies running around down there. And I thought, wow, it gave me new life. So you can be too young, but you can't be too old.